Hi. I'm Taryn Seidler, and something I'm really passionate about is reading. And ever since I was young, I've been drawn to books for some reason, and I had no idea why. And it wasn't until later in my life that I realized their true worth. Books create an experience that shows me that reading for pleasure is a sort of gateway into a different time in life. And in that way, I realized that there are so many different sides of life that can be seen from just one book. Along with that, literature creates a wide base of knowledge for making choices and reacting to events and just coping with the downsides of life. I remember, for me, literature became truly an important aspect of my life when I had a death in my family almost 2 years ago. He was my cousin, and he was only 21 years old, and it was really tragic. And very soon after he died, I went to the bookstore, and I bought a book randomly for no reason, and it was Henry David Thoreau's Walden. And when I got home, I took a picture of him, and I put it between the pages, and every time I wanted to see it, I opened up the book, and I looked at it, and I read the same passage. And it goes like this. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. And for some reason, this passage changed the way that I look at things, and I have no idea why. It was a coping mechanism that helped me escape from the reality of the pain and the loss and the grief. And I'm really glad that I bought that book because it really showed me that literature can offer comfort in an unfamiliar way, and it was something that I really needed the most then, and it's what it's done for me ever since. And in a way, I feel like my cousin led me there, to those books, and to a clear understanding of the dynamics of life, and it sort of showed me to an extent that it opens up your mind to knowledge and choices, and at times it can help you realize why people do the things that they do. And although books don't solve all of our problems, like I wish they would, but fiction or nonfiction, they provide circumstances that could happen, and which would prepare us for later events in our lives. The books I've put up on this slide are a few of my favorites, and each of them has something in common. All of them, like every book, have a protagonist, and each of them faces something truly horrible in their lives that they have to come to grips with and understand, and in every one of these books, they overcome it. For example, in Harry Potter, which I hope we all know, is his parents die, and he has to carry that with him through his life. And, it sort of defines him, and it helps him cope. And I think that relates to me, sort of, not to that extent, but the coping and how you carry it with you. And also, Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen is one of my favorite books. It's about two sisters that lose their father. And in Jane Austen's time, estates and wealth went to the first male in the family whenever the father, or leading male died. And so they really had to cope with a new way of life and with their father dying. And also Nicholas Sparks, his books really, they kind of have a common theme of a character getting sick, some illness, and they have to cope with that and the characters around them too. And they really just see the light in life before they die. And then when they do, all the other characters have to cope and they have to carry it with them, and they have to realize that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel, so to say. The one with the woman on the front is The Painted Veil. It's definitely maybe my favorite book, and it's set in the 1920s in Shanghai, and the main character is very unhappy with her life, and she decides to marry someone that she doesn't love because she feels like her chances are leaving her, and she cheats on him, and she comes to love him, and then he dies of cholera. And so she has to cope with that, knowing that she really didn't take care of him and that she didn't admire him the way she should have before he died, and that, The books I put up here, they're really important to me because I feel like they showed me that given a comfort like books were for me, you can get through anything. And when I read books now, I can't help but think of how I really got started with them and how now they mean something so profound and meaningful, more than they did before. And when I read a book now, I don't do it to cope with anything. I do it because I truly enjoy it. Thank you.